The city streets were shrouded in darkness as I embarked on another late-night food delivery shift. The clock struck midnight, and my phone buzzed with an order for an address that I didn't recognize. The thought of extra money fueled my motivation, but little did I know that this delivery would lead me down a path of horror and dread. The address led me to the outskirts of town, where an eerie sense of isolation settled over me. The streets were deserted, and the houses seemed to loom like ominous shadows. As I pulled up to the given address, a sense of unease gnawed at my gut. The house was old, its windows dark, and a faint mist hung in the air. I grabbed the food bag and stepped out of my car, my footsteps echoing in the silence. The porch light flickered, casting unsettling shadows that danced along the walls. Taking a deep breath, I approached the door and rang the bell, the sound echoing through the quiet night. After what felt like an eternity, the door creaked open slowly, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness. A shiver ran down my spine as I handed over the food, my voice trembling as I asked for payment. The figure's voice was a low whisper, barely audible as it instructed me to step inside to retrieve the money. Reluctantly, I stepped over the threshold, the door closing behind me with an ominous thud. The interior of the house was dimly lit, and an unsettling scent lingered in the air. As my eyes adjusted, I realized that the walls were adorned with strange symbols and symbols, giving the place an otherworldly aura. My instincts screamed at me to leave, but I couldn't deny the sense of dread that had settled over me. The figure handed me the money, and I quickly turned to leave. But just as I reached for the doorknob, a chilling whisper filled the air. "You're not going anywhere," the voice hissed, its tone dripping with malice. Panic surged through me as I turned to face the figure, only to find its face obscured by a dark hood. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural intensity, fixated on me with a hunger that sent a wave of terror crashing over me. I stumbled back, my heart racing as I realized I was trapped. Desperation consumed me as I tried to open the door, but it remained locked, defying my frantic attempts. The figure advanced toward me slowly, its presence suffocating. Its voice became a chorus of whispers that seemed to surround me, each utterance sending a fresh wave of fear through my veins. In a final act of desperation, I lunged at the door, using all my strength to break free. As the door swung open, I stumbled onto the porch, my breath ragged and my heart pounding. Without looking back, I sprinted to my car, the echoes of those haunting whispers still ringing in my ears. As I drove away, the house grew smaller in the rearview mirror, its sinister presence fading into the distance. The encounter had left me shaken to my core, a chilling reminder that the night held secrets that could shatter the boundaries between the mundane and the macabre. The true horror of that night wasn't just the figure in the house, but the realization that darkness can lurk in the most unexpected places, even when you're just trying to make a simple food delivery. It's a memory that still haunts my dreams, a reminder that the safety of the day can be shattered by the terrors that emerge under the cover of night. The city's bustling streets had quieted down, bathed in the eerie glow of streetlights as I embarked on another night of food deliveries. The clock struck midnight, and a new order came in. An address I'd never encountered before. An unfamiliar thrill coursed through me as I accepted the request, unaware of the terror that awaited me. The address led me to a dimly lit street lined with aging houses. The atmosphere felt heavy, as if the night itself held its breath. As I pulled up to the designated address, a sense of unease crept over me. The house stood in partial darkness, only a faint glow emanating from a window on the second floor. I grabbed the food bag, stepped out of my car, and approached the door. Before I could even knock, the door swung open, revealing an elderly man with sunken eyes that seemed to penetrate my very soul. His voice was a raspy whisper as he directed me inside to collect the payment. Reluctantly, I stepped into the dimly lit foyer, my footsteps echoing in the silence. The air was thick with an odd, almost metallic scent. As I looked around, I noticed peculiar paintings on the walls, macabre scenes that sent shivers down my spine. I reached the top of the stairs, the creaking wood beneath my feet intensifying my unease. The hallway stretched ahead, a dim light casting long, eerie shadows. The door to the room where the customer awaited was slightly ajar, emitting a faint, flickering light. I pushed the door open gently, revealing a room that seemed frozen in time. The walls were adorned with peculiar symbols, and an assortment of oddities covered every surface. The customer sat at a table, their face hidden in shadow. With trembling hands, I placed the food on the table and requested payment. The figure's voice was a whisper that seemed to echo in the room, instructing me to approach and take a seat. My heart raced, but I obeyed, a feeling of compulsion washing over me. As I sat across from the figure, the flickering light revealed their face, a mask of porcelain white, contorted into a permanent, unsettling smile. My gut churned as I realized there was something deeply wrong about this encounter. The figure began to speak, their words an unsettling mix of cryptic riddles and ominous prophecies. Panic surged within me, and I mustered the courage to stand and flee. But the figure's voice grew louder, filling the room and echoing in my ears, as if it was within my very mind. I staggered back, knocking over a shelf of peculiar objects that crashed to the ground with a cacophony of noise. In the chaos, I managed to break free from the room, my heart pounding as I fled down the stairs and out of the house. As I drove away, the image of that porcelain mask and the haunting whispers lingered in my mind. The encounter had left an indelible mark on me, a chilling reminder that the ordinary world could swiftly morph into a nightmare of the supernatural. The true horror of that night wasn't just the unsettling figure I encountered, but the realization that even in the mundane act of delivering food, the boundaries between reality and the macabre could be breached. It's a memory that still sends shivers down my spine, a haunting testament to the fact that the darkness of the night can conceal horrors beyond imagination. The city's streets were cloaked in shadows as I embarked on my nightly food delivery rounds. The clock struck midnight, and a new order appeared, an address that sent a shiver down my spine. It led to the outskirts of town, where an abandoned motel stood, its windows shattered and its walls weathered by time. Despite my apprehension, the promise of a tip compelled me to accept the order. As I drove toward the decrepit motel, an eerie stillness settled over the night. The motel loomed ahead, its broken neon sign flickering faintly, as if trying to ward off any visitors. I parked my car, grabbed the food bag, and hesitantly approached room 13, the one indicated in the order. The door was ajar, and a faint light spilled into the hallway. As I pushed the door open, a musty odor hit me, and the room's atmosphere was suffused with a sense of abandonment and decay. The room was dimly lit by a single flickering lamp, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. A figure sat at a table, their back turned to me. I cleared my throat and announced my presence, my voice quivering slightly. The figure didn't move, its presence oddly motionless. Summoning my courage, I placed the food on the table and requested payment. The figure's voice was a hoarse whisper, instructing me to take a seat and share a meal. My unease deepened, but a sense of compulsion overcame me, and I hesitantly pulled out a chair. As I sat across from the figure, I stole a glance at them. Their appearance was unsettling, pale, waxy skin, and an aura of decay that seemed to emanate from them. The room grew colder, and the air was thick with a strange energy that sent shivers down my spine. The figure began to speak, their words disjointed and cryptic. They spoke of the motel's history, of the lives that had been lost within its walls, and the darkness that had taken root. Panic gnawed at me, and I felt a desperate urge to escape, to flee from this macabre encounter. But the figure's voice grew louder, its words intertwining with the creaks and groans of the dilapidated room. As their tale unfolded, I felt an overpowering sense of dread, as if I was being pulled into a nightmarish reality that I couldn't escape. In a moment of desperation, I pushed back from the table and made a run for the door. The figure's voice grew frantic, its words a chorus of anguish that seemed to reverberate in my very soul. I stumbled out of the room, my heart racing, and fled from the motel as if the very forces of darkness pursued me. As I drove away, the image of that decaying figure and their haunted whispers lingered in my mind. The encounter had left me shaken to my core, a chilling reminder that even the most mundane tasks could lead to encounters with the inexplicable and the terrifying. The true horror of that night wasn't just the unsettling figure I encountered or the abandoned motel's dark history, but the realization that the ordinary world can intersect with the macabre in the most unexpected ways. It's a memory that still haunts my thoughts, a stark reminder that the veil between the mundane and the supernatural can be breached by the shadows of the night.